What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays for this Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware, ladies and gentlemen, I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me. And I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have an action-packed show. I got an action-packed special guest. We're going to bring him on in a second, this young man. But before we do that, I always like to state my intentions. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversation about your life's transitions. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. So let me introduce my special guest. This extensive bio, so ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me as I read this down the line because this guy has this extensive bio that I have to read. So, ladies and gentlemen, my special guest, after living in West Germany and Canada, my guest played basketball his senior season of high school basketball at St. Thomas More in Connecticut, where he averaged a whopping 24 points and 14 rebounds per game. This young man is a basketball icon at St. John's University. He ended his playing days playing with St. John's with a whopping 1,349 total points, which ranks 22 all-time in the school's history. And he totaled 784 rebounds, which is 10th all-time. He cracked the top 10 in rebounding. This guy, man. After graduating from college, my guest played professional ball in France and Israel. And check out this, with Israel in 2003 was named the Israeli Basketball Premier League MVP after being the league's top scorer, averaging 25.3 points per game. Also, my special guest played professionally in South Korea and the Ukraine as well. His favorite hobby, now check this out, guys, I love this. His favorite hobby is working out and spending time on the basketball court, training young ballers like himself. This guy, he still looks young, man. Looks like he still play. I'm telling you, we're going to get into that. And also, my special guest, he coaches his youngest son's AAU team in his spare time. And last but not least, this special guest of mine, he currently works as a pharmacist, man. We're going to get into that. Not a street pharmacist, legit pharmacist. All right, we're going to get into that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome Mr. Charles Minlend to Transition Tuesdays. Hold on, Charles. No problem, man. No problem, man. What's going on, my man? Well, hey, you are that legend, man. You are that guy. You are that legend, man. You are definitely that. You welcome, Charles. You welcome. Now, Charles, man, I play music for my guests. So what I'm gonna do, Charles, I'm gonna play this song that you probably heard before, but I want to play this for you, and there's a theme behind this song. So hopefully you can hear it on your phone. But I'm gonna play this song for you. Tell me what you think of when you first heard this song. All right, hold on one second. Can you hear it? Okay. All right. Let's see if you hear this part right here, because this is important about this song. This part here, coming up. Hold up. Place to be. University. Do you remember that? Run DMC? Yes, it sounds familiar. Sucker MCs. When my man DMC said, I go to St. John's University. Do you remember that? Did they? Yep. Did they used to play that song for you guys when you came out the ball? Did they ever play that song for you guys in St. John's?
When I went to St. John's, some of the seniors, they were playing that song a lot.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't know much about hip hop and the hip hop culture.
Right.
So that's when I was actually introduced to it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Understand. Understood. Oh, yes, that's the famous line. Yup. Go to St. John's University. Hey, we got on the line, we got the voice of the Jaspers, my man Chris B. Williams, Uncle Smoothie in the house. What's going on, Smoothie? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. Hey, Charles, Chris says, he says Pete Philo and Terrell Dozier spoke so highly of Charles before we played St. John's in 1993. You remember those guys at all?
Those are my boys, man.
Yes.
Hey, we went through a lot of good battles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were St. Thomas More.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Yes, that's right. Yup. And you know what? I know we were talking off air. I know you said you live in Charlotte. I think Pete Pete lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think he still does with me. Yep.
Matter of fact, we're still in contact. I spoke to him last year.
Okay.
Quite a bit. Yeah, he's in Charlotte.
Nice.
And a few other St. John's guys from back in the day are here now.
Oh, that's great. Man, that is super. Man, oh, man. Hey, so Charles, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. This guy here, I was such a pleasure to connect with you, man, and have you on the show because you're one of these guys that I like to hear their stories, their backstories, because, this guy, like a guy like yourself, was a humble superstar. We're going to go into that, too. But, Charles, man, how are I'll be remiss before I didn't ask you, how are you and your family coping with these two pandemics that we're currently going through? You got COVID and you got social injustice for black people here in the United States. So, how are you guys coping with these pandemics going on?
Man, it's first, but it was pretty tough.
Okay.
Especially for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
To having to explain to them what was going on. I had my youngest one is 13. The older ones, it was a little easier to have a discussion with them.
Mm-hmm.
They make up their own minds and, they can think for themselves, obviously, they have their own opinions.
Right.
So it was easier to communicate with them. But the youngest one, having to tell them, hey, how you feel about what's going on right now, you watch the news all the time, obviously. So
yeah,
it's not like he wasn't aware of what was going on.
Right,
so
right.
It was rough. I mean, just having to sit down at the dinner table and telling him, act this way if you're ever in this situation. Try to be a stand-up citizen. Yeah. Right? Don't try to, outdo the police or anything like that. Just, cooperate as much as possible. Do what they ask you to do.
Right.
And then hopefully, you don't end up on the wrong side, of the road. So,
yeah.
I mean, it was rough and it was depressing at times, but, it seems like things are moving a little bit towards the right direction right now.
Definitely. How old is your youngest son?
Yeah, I was going to answer the second part of your question.
Oh, yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
As far as the pandemic goes, we just basically, try to take care of yourself as much as possible, you try to basically, I have them, keep your social distance as much as possible. Right. Which is, pretty tough now, because especially right now where we live at, the numbers aren't that high, so everybody is kind of,
little lax.
Slowing down with the masking and, the social distancing. But still, we have to live our lives, so we can't live as if, we were incarcerated. Yeah. So, we're doing all right. We're doing all right overall.
Okay, good. Hey, how old is your youngest son?
He's 13 now.
Oh, okay, he's 13. So it's in the community, the black and brown community. We got to have our talk with our younger people. Unfortunately, we got to have that talk. Especially if you're driving in a car or what have you. It's vital. It's just something that we do.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, talking about that, I've been pulled over quite a few times.
Me too.
I wouldn't say, I don't know, it's tough to say, I don't know if it was profiling or what, but I've been pulled over, and he was in the car with me. And the worst part about that is that it was in the peak of what was going on, with black folks and police. And I say, listen, stay calm. He was panicking, and I say, listen, this is how you deal with those type of situations. Stay calm and just watch what I do. Just cooperate. And it just happened that the police officer I was dealing with, he was cordial, and I was as well. So the encounter was pretty much it was a good encounter. So that did not really, make him scared of those type of situations. And I hope moving forward, you just never know, as he grows up, he may encounter this type of situation. So he may be able to remember, what happened once his dad got pulled over. Yeah. And do the same thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got Felicia from Maryland on the check-in. What's going on, Felicia? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, man, it's the conversation we have to have, and it was good that he had that. You know, he got a chance to see you, how you operate, how how you stay calm and you stay cooperative, and you get to
Yeah.
move on to another day, which is phenomenal. Yeah, you're right.
Right, right.
Yep. Hey, so Charles, man, how was it growing up in other countries other than the U.S.? How was that for you, man?
Well, wow, you get used to it.
Mm, mm,
I was fortunate enough because my dad was a diplomat back in the day, so
mm.
we were traveling quite a bit.
Okay.
And you mentioned earlier in the intro, living in West Germany,
Yeah.
we went down back in the day, so that's the longest we had stayed overseas.
Okay.
And you just get used to it. You get used to the cultures, you get used to the food, you get used to the people
Mm-hmm.
and their way of living.
Mm-hmm.
So, you understand that there's life outside of where you grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes you appreciate things, and it gives you a wider view of life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was good experiences.
Mm-hmm. Understood. How was your transition? How was your transition adopting to the culture of the United States? How was that for you?
Well, it wasn't that it wasn't a smooth transition per se.
Okay.
Because the language barrier, first of all, was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I did speak English, and American English is different than British English, right?
Mm-hmm.
British English is what I grew up studying and learning in school.
Okay.
And American English was completely different. And up to today, as you see how guys like Pete, I hope he's listening, always making fun of me from back in those days. So besides the language, and getting used to eating hot dogs and hamburgers,
Yes.
that I wasn't really accustomed to, he was fine.
Mhm.
He was fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Hey, so I read that you did well playing basketball. Your senior year. Doubling up on. I mean, putting up numbers. I mean, coming in and putting up numbers. I tell you that for that 1 year, 24 points and 14 rebounds, just putting up numbers. But for you, Charles, when did you know basketball was it for you? Or like, did you play other sports as well, or is it just basketball?
Well, I played soccer.
Soccer.
As I was growing up. Back in Cameroon, soccer is the number one sport.
Right.
Everybody plays soccer.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a religion, right?
Yep.
Everybody plays soccer.
Right.
So basketball and volleyball and handball and things like that were secondary sports.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is I started growing so much faster
Mm-hmm.
than everybody else. So soccer was not the thing for me anymore, right? Most
Right.
soccer players are pretty, I wouldn't say short, but medium height
Mm-hmm.
and real fast
Right.
with their feet. So
Mhm.
as I started growing taller, it just so happened that we moved in a different neighborhood
Mm.
where basketball actually was the predominant sport.
Okay.
So I went in there and started playing. Literally, it was love at first sight. Right?
Mm.
It was
Mhm.
it was just one of those things that I started and I just never left.
Right.
When
Mhm.
it gets to a point where your parents have to come get you, on the court to go home and do your homework, yeah.
Right.
You got that bug, right? That basketball bug.
That's bug. Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, let me tell you, I had it big time, right?
Mm.
So, I had to find the balance eventually. But it went so fast, right? It went from starting literally within a year, I was better than guys that had been playing for many years before me, right?
Mm.
Because I was confident in the basketball, just learning.
Right.
And literally it was, love at first sight.
Matt, what do you contribute that you picking up the sport so fast? Like you leaving these guys in the dust who've been playing basketball for years. But what do you contribute that to?
Well, you have the love of the game,
Mm.
right? And also you have the work ethic. You
Yep.
have to work, and you have to want to work.
Mm-hmm.
And work shouldn't feel like work when you love something, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Work should just be something that is natural, right? That you enjoy going to.
Right.
Not like, oh man, I gotta go back to basketball. Nah, it wasn't like that. It was something. It was just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I never felt like, oh, do I have to go back the next day and do it? Nah, never. It was always like, okay, I can't wait for the next day, right?
Right.
Go to sleep, hey, go to school, go back on the court. Yeah. So basically, I would say, just in love with the game, man. You know, just a great work ethic, and that just really helps you to make considerable strides.
Definitely, yeah, and we're gonna talk about your work ethic too, because I enjoy watching you play, man, at St. John's, and you outwork the guys. That's what it was. I mean, you were that star, but you outwork guys more than the average Joe. But we're gonna talk about that as well. Yep. So Charles, talk to me a little bit about the recruiting process. So like for you, that senior year in high school, you're putting up the numbers. What types of schools recruited you? What was the recruiting process like? Like, who was involved with your recruiting process as well?
Oh, man, let me tell you, Ross, that was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced, I'm telling you. Because coming in, I see how basketball works now. I see, even when I was there, guys have handlers, right?
Yes.
They have people that are guiding them in certain directions to a certain school. They have AAU coaches. I didn't know anybody, really. The guy that I knew when I was in Canada, who actually helped me move towards the States, was a guy, a coach named Sean Marshall. Very good guy. I mean, up to today, I give it up to him because it was not only was he a good coach, but he was a great person, right? So once I made that transition to St. Thomas More, at first nobody really knew who I was. During that summer, I was able to play some AAU basketball. Riverside Church. You know about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to play for Riverside.
So,
yep.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I played with them for that summer, and I mean, from what I understand, I was pretty impressive because what happens is you come in, you don't know anybody, right?
Right.
So my advantage was that I didn't know who the players I was playing against were. I didn't know if they were 2-star recruits or 10-star recruits, right?
Right.
It didn't matter to me. So everybody was on equal playing fields, right? So for me, it didn't matter. So some of the guys knew, okay, this guy's the 5-star recruit, this guy's the 4-star recruit. So they kind of shy away from the competition, right? But for me, it was like, okay, everybody's equal.
That's right.
So when I came in and I burst into the scene, so some of those 5-star recruits I was playing against, and everybody seemed to be scared of. I was working. I was taking them to school. Just for the simple fact that, first of all, like you said earlier, I was able to outwork them. And some of them were just probably more skilled and more talented, right? But I was able to outwork them and actually have better performances against them.
Hey, Charles, can you name some of those players? You remember some of those players who you had to do work against?
Oh, my gosh. Some of those guys. Oh, goodness gracious, it's been so long. Man. I mean, even like when I was in that Riverside Church, they had some pretty big names. I remember a guy named Kibu Stewart. That's my man right there. And let me tell you, he was a horse. Does that name sound familiar to you, by the way?
It does. It does. I remember that name.
Just saying.
Yep.
So there were quite a few guys, we had to go to battle with. And man. The names don't come easy because it's been so long.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, Steven Akibu was one of the guys that he was a big, strong guy and very skilled, but we're going at it in practice. We're going at it.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Hey, so Charles, I got you, man. So Charles, let's get back to the recruiting process real quick. I'm sorry to deter you from that, but the recruiting process. So, what schools were you looking at besides St. John's?
When I first, after the AAU season, the recruiting process started when I went to St. Thomas More. I had schools like, Fairleigh Dickinson, Manhattan College. So,
Right.
Exactly. Your school, your alma mater.
That's right.
So I had mid-majors.
Mid-majors.
That was very,
right.
interesting, right? And then as time went by, the bigger schools started coming. Georgetown came in. UConn was one of them.
Wow.
Indiana came in at one point when Mr. Knight was there back in the day.
Wow.
Wow. A lot of our biggest schools were there. Let me see. University of Richmond. Wow.
Man.
Quite a bit of schools schools, Boston College.
Okay.
Yeah, a few schools.
Right, right. So why St. John's? Was it that pipeline Riverside Church? Because I know there was a pipeline back in the day, like from your Malik Sealy's, all type of guys. Going all the way back with a guy named Reggie Carter. I don't know if you heard of him, but Reggie. Yep, Reggie Carter was that first guy with that Riverside pipeline. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite say it was the pipeline because I knew about St. John's, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even when I was in Connecticut at St. Thomas More, we used to watch those games on TV quite a bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they were definitely the favorite. One of the main reasons because they had a very good pharmacy school program.
Okay.
Interested in going into the pharmacy program, right?
Gotcha. So that's what you wanted to do from the jump. So the pharmacy, okay, understood. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, Charles.
Yeah, exactly. So the other schools, I went to visit. Connecticut was another program that I was interested in. They were literally, 45 minutes away from us. So we went to a few games, and I was heavily recruited by the program. And they also had pharmacy. But for whatever reason, the interaction did not really work quite as well when I went to it. So St. John was definitely the clear favorite.
Gotcha. Hey, we got Karen checking on the check-in here. Welcome, Karen. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome. Hey, so talk to me about your recruiting visit at St. John's. Like, how was that? Because, if people don't know, like, I don't know if they don't probably have dorms, but how was the recruiting process? I mean, how was your recruiting visit when you went to St. John's? Can you talk to me a little bit about that? You remember who hosted you?
Yeah. Most definitely. The visit was great. I remember like it was yesterday. We had a chance to go watch one of the games at the Garden when, bless his heart, Souls, Malik was still playing. Then one of my favorite players back in the day was Charles Barkley. And it just so happened that he actually was playing the Knicks during my trip.
Wow.
So I actually got to see him, and it was fun.
Wow.
And obviously, I was able to visit the school, had a lengthy conversation with the dean of pharmacy there, Dean John back in the day. They used to call him my white dad because he really took me under his wing and made sure, I was following the program properly and I wasn't falling behind. So, the school itself was great. It's true that we didn't have on-campus housing. We're living off-campus. I had a chance to visit the apartments, and everything just seemed to fit. And when you do those visits and you go on those visits, you just had that feeling that is the right place for you, right? I left that visit without any hiccups.
Right.
All the marks checked.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like I told you earlier, I didn't have any handlers, right? I didn't have anybody pushing me really a certain way. So I basically was left to myself. My high school coach did help me a little bit as well, though. But ultimately, St. John's was just the right place for me to go to.
Did you know right then and there, like after you left campus and everything from your visit, did you know, okay, I think I'm probably gonna sign with St. John's?
Yeah. I just knew it. Right. It took me just a couple of weeks maybe, if that. Right. To definitely come to terms with it. I had other visits planned. I just say it's not worth wasting their time since I already know what I'm going to go to. So I canceled some of those visits and I just stayed with St. John's. Yeah.
Cool. So talk to us, Charles, about how was it playing for a basketball program like St. John's, one of the blue blood programs in the history of college basketball? I mean, St. John's is up there with the wins with like Kentucky and North Carolina. So, how was it playing for like St. John's U?
But it was great, man. I mean, great tradition, great program. The coaching staff was great. It was first class from beginning to the end. Wow. How was it? All I can say is Captain Great.
That is cool, man. And here on Transition Tuesdays, we talk about transition. So How was the transition for you from playing high school ball to college? How was that transition for you?
It was good. It was intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the physicality and the speed of the game from high school to college is huge. You know, obviously all those points in high school, rebound the ball, and I remember my first couple of weeks on campus.
Uh-huh.
I was like, did I make the right decision? That's the first time I ever questioned myself on the basketball court.
Yep.
I was like, man, because I have this guy here who is in front of me, Lamont Middleton, Headman.
Oh, Lamont Middle, yes, my guy, yes.
This guy was the biggest, probably one of the strongest guys I ever played against.
Yes.
With the same height.
Yep.
He was so physical and so tough.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew all the tricks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He knew, like, the below the belt, how to get you off balance, how to get you frustrated.
That's Lamont. That was Lamont. Yep.
Oh my gosh, he was driving me insane. I don't even remember if I ever scored more than 10 points. I'm not talking about in the game, like one of the speak-up games. I'm talking about 10 points, like in a series of games against him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I went home one time and I said, you know what? I gotta figure it out. I have to figure it out. I have a choice.
Right.
I want to play.
Right.
So either you lay down or you go ahead and compete.
That's right.
So, it took me a while. The third week or so, things started getting a little better. I started to get into the flow of things, and eventually, obviously, the rest is history.
That's right. The rest is definitely history. Nah, shout out to Lamont, man. Yeah, you know what Lamont had, because I'm a friend of Lamont. Lamont had this. I don't know if he was doing it with you guys, but he had like this handshake in which he almost can like break your fingers. That's how strong this guy was. I don't know what the hell he did, but
that was his intimidation factor, right?
Yeah. He used to do that, shake my hand, almost break my fingers. I think, oh, Lamont, what you doing?
And he's still doing it.
He's still doing that, right? Okay, so it wasn't just me. All right, cool. All right.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is funny. Shout out to Lamont Middleton, my guy there.
That's my guy right there. That's my guy.
Absolutely. Hey, so speaking of St. John's and teammates, man, do you have like some like favorite teammates or teammates you hung out with, or is there any your former teammates you hang out with now you still keep in contact with?
Yeah, we do definitely keep in contact once in a while. We text and talk once in a blue moon. Rowan Barrett was my roommate back then.
Oh yes.
And once in a while we still keep in touch. He's probably very busy right now. His son doing very well in the league right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him.
Yep.
Maurice Brown. Maurice.
Yes, Mo Brown. Yes.
Yeah, Mo B. Yeah, we keep in touch. We talk quite a bit. Rick Turner.
Oh yes.
I still talk to. Yeah, we talk once in a while.
Yeah.
Let's see who else.
How about Felipe?
No, Leaf, I had him on Facebook a few times, but we haven't talked in a while.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Gotcha, man. Yeah, man. Those two, yep. Yeah, man. That's good that you guys keep in touch, to this day, because I graduated in '92, and I still have great contact with my teammates. Actually, I just saw my last teammate, guy Carrie Edwards, who I just had on here last week. We celebrated him going into the Hall of Fame at Manhattan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm getting a little off topic, but do they have like a Hall of Fame at St. John's at all there? Jones?
They sure do.
Okay.
But they sure do. But I haven't heard much about it. To be honest with you, I haven't kept up with it.
Okay. And you're gonna get in there. So
they have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Felipe, that you mentioned, was inducted a few years ago.
Okay, I got you. So Charles, you just wait for the call because you're gonna get that induction too, man. So just stay by that phone, man. You're gonna definitely get in there. No doubt about that, man. Yeah, man. Nah, this guy. Yep, only time will tell, but just stay by that phone. You're gonna get that call. You definitely gonna get that call. Hey, so Charles, talk to me about your run at St. John's, like when you guys went to the tournament, right? You went to the tournament once or twice, I forget.
We went there my first year, my freshman year.
Right, okay. Talk to me about that experience.
it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, that whole entire year was such a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Having to be mentored by Lamont and
Mm-hmm.
guys like David Kane, point
Yes.
guard. He was one of the most underrated point guard or player in the Big East.
I
I mean,
agree.
that guy was so good. I'm telling you,
He
he was
was.
coach on the floor. He was getting guys to the right spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was that good.
Yes.
Chanel Sky.
Oh,
Man,
yes.
yeah, it was good. And the good thing about that is the practices were so much harder than the games
Mm.
because everybody was competing for a spot.
Right.
So every practice was, I'm telling you, it was amazing. That whole entire year was literally, man, my favorite moment over there at St. John's. That whole entire year.
Mm.
So going to the tournament was, just topped it off. We went there, won one game, and
Mm-hmm.
lost one, obviously. But that experience was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Hey, so talk. Like, who was the toughest guy you had to guard? Because you usually drew like the tough defensive assignments. I mean, you guarding guards, you guarding forwards. Sometimes you guarding centers and power forwards. So, like, who was the toughest guy you had to guard?
Man, back in those days,
Yep.
the toughest guy. The guy was Danny Abrams from Boston College was pretty tough.
Oh, he was a load too. Big guy
Yeah,
too.
he was a load, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He was a load
Mhm.
to guard. Let me see. But the toughest guy, honestly, was Daniel Marshall.
Oh, from
He
UConn.
was, he was, yeah. He
Yep.
was the force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Man,
Oh.
I mean, I remember one game the whole team got it. He was on fire. Nobody could stop him.
Right.
He drove everybody crazy. And then guess what? He was at the guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he ended up with 42 points and 20, free throws. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
He was tough.
Yeah.
He was definitely, amongst the toughest guys that I ever had to guard.
Gotcha. And I bet you, if you was on him, I know he earned every bit of that. I know he had to work for that.
Listen, we tried.
Right.
It's one of those games where I'm telling you, like, he could miss.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you can talk about the Georgetown crew. You have guys like Otella, Harrington.
Yes.
He was tough too.
Right.
The big guy Reed was also very tough.
Oh yeah, Reed, Don Reed. Yes.
Don Reed, yeah.
Yep.
He was a tough player.
Yes.
And the thing is, I mean, those guys weren't afraid of contact.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no intimidation going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to play ball.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So at a school like St. John's, Charles, like, what were some perks playing for St. John's? There had to be some perks. I mean, playing at St. John's. I mean, one of the blue blood programs. What were some perks, if you can elaborate, if you want to? Statute of limitations are gone, so you can talk about this. You can talk about the perks, man.
Well, perks really, I didn't really, maybe I don't know, maybe I wasn't really part of the culture that much.
Okay.
But I really did not get anything extra
Mm-hmm.
than what was given by the school to us, right?
Right.
First, man, let me see. I really can't think of anything extra.
Okay.
Besides going out and people recognizing you, having to sign autographs and
Yep.
people wanting you to come to the school and talk to the high school teams or young athletes, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, really, which, by the way, for me, was great, right? I didn't take it for granted.
Right.
But, no, besides that, just everything was just normal.
Okay. Man.
And you probably don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And this will tell you that everything was maybe too normal.
Uh-huh.
Because I actually did not own a car. I had a bike.
You had a bike?
The entire time at St. John's.
Get out of here.
Riding a bike. Summer or winter, I was on that bike.
You were on your bike? Oh, my God.
Bike, bro. So let me tell you, if there were perks, I didn't get it.
You didn't. That is funny. On the bike. Oh, always.
On the bike.
Man.
Summer, it didn't matter.
I didn't know that.
It kept me in good shape, though.
That's right. Yeah, man. Yup, cut up and everything. In shape. Yeah, out running guys, out working guys. Oh, my God.
Right.
Man, oh, man. Hey, so no, that's funny stuff. I never knew that. I thought everybody at St. John's was driving cars, driving
No,
Lexuses. You
no.
know, that's the misconception that you get, man.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, man. So you know, so Charles, so after your career, because you had that storied career that I just mentioned, 22, in scoring, like over 1,300 points, which is phenomenal at a place like St. John's, top 10 in rebounding. I mean, you were one of, like, I looked at it, Charles, like, you were definitely one of those guys, one of those glue guys. Like, if this guy's like not, if you're not like on this team, that you that glue guy, you keep stuff together. You one of the tough guys, you getting all the doing all the dirty work in the plays that needs to be done. You took care of that. You like the enforcer, a guy that can score, a tough guy, a caddies for people, you know what I mean? But you can score, and
Yeah.
and just outwork guys. That's what I remember the most. Like you
So I
outwork
own that.
guys. Yep.
I own that.
Yes, absolutely, no doubt about that. So, how was it, Charles? So from there, you didn't get drafted, but that was okay though because people knew your body of work, especially overseas. So, how was it playing overseas, man? Like in France and Israel and South Korea. How was it playing overseas for you?
Yeah, I mean it was different
Mm-hmm.
because what happens in college basketball, you have a role that you have to play, right?
Yep.
So you have a limited role, and just certain players have the ability to go outside that role,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't, one of those guys. So I had to stick to my script. Now you go overseas, and you basically go in there to be that guy.
That
right?
guy. Yep.
Yeah. So, to be honest with you, I mean, my game went from just being an enforcer
Mm-hmm.
to
Yep.
being able to move towards the perimeter more,
Mm.
start shooting threes, and making move every dribble, pull up jumpers,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, because you get so much more responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and literally, I mean, the whole entire organization is looking at you like, okay, we brought you in. Now take us from point A to point D
Mm-hmm.
and above.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just makes you a better player, and also it makes you mature a lot faster because they're giving you so much more responsibility that you are accustomed to, especially
Mm-hmm.
coming from college.
Definitely, definitely. So, Charles, do you think you could have played in this era that's going on right now with threes and everything like that? Do you think you've been able to adapt? You think you've been able to flourish like how you did back in the in the '90s? You think you've been able in the 2000s? Do you think you've been able to survive and do work like you did back then? Now?
Let me tell you something. That question right there
Uh-huh.
will literally take a knife and cut the cake in two, right? Because half of us would definitely not be able to play nowadays.
Right.
It's a different game. It's different.
It
It's
is.
different.
It is.
Because that hard work and tenacity is not appreciated anymore, right?
Right.
You can't even guard anymore. Everything's a foul.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got me on that one. No, I wouldn't be.
Oh,
It just wasn't my game. It wasn't.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
all
true.
those guys, I mean, think about it. The Knicks back in the day, or the Pistons back in the day.
Right.
There's no way.
Yep.
Those teams would never be able to play nowadays, right? It's impossible.
Right.
With the way the rules are, it's different. It's a different ballgame altogether.
Nah, that's
So,
definitely true.
I think it's a lot more mellowed down
Mhm.
than what it used to be.
Mhm.
But as players, they're making the adjustment. And
Yeah.
it's working for a lot of players. So
Sure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nah, that's true. That's true. But Charles, I think, man, you would have been able to adapt because that's what I think too. Like great players, they adapt to the situation. So, like, I take it like this: like, okay, guys are shooting the threes like Curry and stuff, right? So, great players, they're able to adapt. And next thing you know, you got Charles Minlend out there knocking down threes, outworking guys, but you're able to adapt because you got that, you got the fundamentals and the ability to adapt. So, you just adjust to it. Just be like, now your scoring average, instead of getting like all these layups, you probably get like 3 or 4 threes a game. Then you get a couple of layups and you go to the line. Next thing you know, you average like 21, 22. And then you're looking like a monster out there,
But nowadays, you can't just make threes a game. You gotta make 5.
Right. That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Good point.
And the whole game is just, predicated on threes.
Yes. Yep.
And for old school
Yep.
guys like myself, some of those games are really tough to watch, right?
It is. It is.
Unless I'm watching Curry, who's a proven guy,
Yeah.
it's just tough to watch some of those guys. You can go a whole half, the ball goes in the paint, what, 5, 6 times? It's rough.
Yep. Yep, like a dinosaur.
It's entertainment. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
My kids love it, so.
Right, yeah, definitely, yeah, absolutely. Isn't it like this, Harden, Charles? Like, guys used to run from rim to rim, get a layup. Now guys are running to the 3-point line. I'm like, what is this? Pass it up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they shooting for the St. John's logo. Yeah, I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? Yup.
And it drives me crazy watching those young kids, right? Because they're trying to do the same thing, when you're playing AAU ball.
Right.
I'm like, you had a wide open layup. Why you stopping at the logo to shoot for?
Right.
It's just like bad business.
Yeah.
Generation. You just have to, like you say, you have to adapt, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. So, how is it for you when you're coaching your son in AAU? Like, is it frustrating? Is some of that becomes like kind of frustrating, or you like roll with the punches with it?
Well, it is. It can get frustrating with some kids who only want to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Play like they see those guys on TV.
Yep.
Play.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we try to instill in them the fundamentals of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you have those fundamentals packed down, you can basically play anywhere, right?
Yep.
But for me, that's my main goal. You have to be able to make a left hand layup. You have to be able to make a right hand layup. You're a pump fake, one dribble pull up on the right hand side. You got to be able to do the same thing on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to post up a little bit. You have to be able to rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Play on selfish basketball. Pass the ball at the right time. So those little things, and let me tell you, it sounds simple, but it's a challenge to have all those kids sometimes buy into it.
Yeah, because a lot of times they don't know the fundamentals. I mean, I remember one story. I remember I was watching some guy and they asked the kid to do a V cut. V cut to the basket. He's like, V cut? What the heck is that?
What's that?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, and then and then I heard one guy, he was talking to his son. He was like, yeah, hey son, I want you to be versatile like Scottie Pippen. He's like, who the hell is Scottie Pippen? Who's that? Who the heck is that? Scottie Pippen? What is that? A cartoon character?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So I could imagine it could be frustrating. It could definitely be frustrating. But hey, Charles, man.
You get used to it and you roll with it.
Yeah, you roll with the punches. No doubt about that. Yeah. Hey, so Charles, you've had successful careers, high school, college, professionally as well. What are some life lessons basketball have taught you?
Oh man, that you just can never give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even when things are rough, which is a great thing when we play sports, all of us. Well,
Yep.
We've been through that.
Right.
You go through the good times and the bad times.
Mm-hmm.
And like the old saying, we know the true character of somebody during the rough times.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your real character shows up.
Right.
So I just learned, to always stay level-headed, stay humble.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're in the high, kind of stay middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not too high, not too low.
Gotcha.
So, and the same applies in life, right? I mean, your relationships, family,
Mm-hmm.
kids, you just have to find that right balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Chuck, I got two more questions for you. This next question is a 3-parter, all right? So,
Yes, sir.
so Charles, man, do they call you CM? What they call you? Got a nickname, man?
Man, actually, yeah, my teammates used to call me Rock.
Rock. Okay, I can see that.
I was going after everything.
Yes, I can see it. All right, so we go. So it's on Rock. All right.
And Rock, and then one of the nicknames I liked, one of the reporters, commentators on TV, you like calling me the Cameroon kamikaze. It was catchy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There you
One
go.
of my favorite ones after Horse.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got Horse, then Cameroon kamikaze, and Rock.
And Rock. Oh man, that is cool, man. You know that's cool when people give you nicknames. I remember in college, I gave myself a nickname. I was getting excited with I was buying into the defensive end because I wasn't really a defensive player, but I bought in that year. So I start calling myself. I gave myself the nickname the Warden, like because I was locking people up. Yeah, that didn't last long, especially when guys were scoring on me. So it's not good to give yourself a nickname.
I was just going to ask that question. How long did it last?
Oh no, it lasted a practice. That was it.
Because you always tend to revert back
Yep.
to your natural instincts.
Absolutely. You're right about that. You're right, Rock. You're right. So, hey, man, so Charles, this is a 3-part question for you. So, do you have any regrets in your basketball career? Any regrets?
Any regrets? Well, not much.
Okay.
Because the reason is I took every practice and every game as if it were my last, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I remember the speech that they gave us when I first entered St. John's. They said, listen, you're a freshman, but 4 years go by so fast.
Yes.
As the seniors, right? Mm-hmm. And I looked at every senior, they were like, So my philosophy was, do not take any days off. Treat every day as if it was going to be your last day on the basketball court. Mm-hmm. So really, no regrets. Mm-hmm. Honestly speaking.
Cool. Yeah, you played like that. Yeah, like you left it on the court and you played like this game might be my last game. I'm going all out. Yes, that's true. Yep. Any regrets in your career choice as a pharmacist?
No.
Good.
Because I was able to work in different fields,
mm-hmm.
right? Home health care, hospital, mm-hmm. and community pharmacy. And I just realized that, I'm good with people, talking mm-hmm. to people.
Yep.
And that translated better in the community pharmacy aspect of pharmacy. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with my choices now.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Gotcha. Any regrets in your personal life?
Any regrets in my personal life?
Yeah. Any regrets?
Wow.
I know it's a tough one.
Regrets in my personal life. Yes, I actually do have one.
Okay.
Well, that was me and my let me not say things that my son not to say. Right. My grandmother and I, were very tight, very, mm-hmm. very tight. Mm-hmm. And I was overseas when she was going through a rough time. Mm. And she passed while I was overseas.
Oh, man, sorry to hear that.
We're so tight, my mind kept telling me, you have to go to the funeral. But we're in a situation where if I had left, mm-hmm. The team was probably going to not do as well, right?
Right.
And it was that crucial moment of the season that we needed everybody on board.
Right.
Every piece. And we're just starting to gel as a team. And I opted to stay as opposed to leaving. So mm-hmm. that kind of, up to today, still, when I think about it, it's just like, wow. Did I love the game that much?
Mm-hmm.
That I could, so that's probably one of the regrets that I have. And,
understood.
But I made peace with it. I went back afterwards and, went to a grave and, So,
okay.
We sorted it out, I guess.
Yeah. I appreciate you for sharing that, man. That goes a long way. People hearing that, they can understand that. Yeah, you made peace with it, which is the most important thing too. Yeah. Hey, I'll get you out on this one, Charles, man, and Rock, the Cameroon Kamikaze, all these names, I'll get you out on this one, though, man. But what are you thankful for during this, we got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday, but what is The Rock thankful for? Or what is Rock thankful for? I shouldn't say The Rock, you ain't Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not yet. Hey, I'm getting there.
I see. I know.
What am I thankful for? Just being healthy, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to wake up in the morning and go to my normal routine, mm-hmm. exercise, mm-hmm. run, have my kids healthy, wife is healthy, mm-hmm. and just being able to enjoy life, mm-hmm. to the fullest.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thankful for.
Mm.
Because everything else, you don't have your health. Because I've been, in situations where, it was rough health-wise, and it just makes you appreciate it so much more.
Absolutely.
So I'm just thankful for having good health and having a healthy family.
That is great, man. Well, Charles, man, I'm thankful to have you on finally, man. I wanted people to hear your story, man, because it's such a unique story. It's such a success story too. Here's a guy, the true meaning of a student athlete, a guy who excelled on and off the court. Honors, a pharmacist, doing his thing. He had mad game too. You know what I mean? This guy was not a slouch, man. And Charles, man, make sure you buy that phone because you're going to get a call. You heard it here first on Transit. You're going to get a call from St. John's or Hall of Fame. So,
Hey, the way you're going right now, I may get that call.
That's what I'm saying. So what you do, Charles, you got to do this for me, man. So when you're up there, you give me your speech, you got to shout me out there. Sometimes you got to fit me in there, man, somehow.
Hey, I will find a way if that ever happens. Trust me. I will find a way to put you in there.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Rock, the Cameroon Kamikaze. Hey, man, I appreciate you having on, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, man. And I got to have you back on again, but we got to talk some more war stories and have some more fun like we did. This was great.
Hey, Ross, a.k.a. Horse, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hey, all the pleasure was mine. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. God bless, brother.
Same to you. Happy Thanksgiving, too, and good catching up with you.
Oh, good catching up with you as well, too, man. Thanks, Charles. All right, man.
Have a good one.
Okay, thanks, man.
Later, bye.
All right. That is future St. John's Red Storm Hall of Famer, Mr. Charles Minlend, on the check-in. Oh, man, that was phenomenal. That was so great. Man, oh, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. As I get my theme music on. Here we go. Theme music. Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesday here. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And you can check out this episode and past episodes on our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays. And do me a favor when you're on there, ladies and gentlemen. When you're on there, please like and subscribe before you leave the channel, okay? So that, again, that's Transition Tuesdays on our YouTube channel, okay? Make sure you go there and check out past interviews and past shows, man. Some good stuff. You'll be glad you did. You can follow me on Instagram, or as the young people like to call it, IG, or at Russ Will Transitions. That's Russ Will Transitions with an S. Okay, check me out there. And special shout out to my guest, Mr. Charles Minlend, aka Rock, aka the Cameroon Kamikaze. Man, this guy was a relentless guy. This guy epitomized what a student athlete should be. Hey, man, God bless that man, doing great thing as a pharmacist, man, and great stories that he told today. So thank you, Charles Minlend. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. So, guests of Transition Tuesdays receive a candy gift pack, compliments of our sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe. Now, Sweet Candy Cafe is the home of Southern Sweetness, located in downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. So after the show, head over to sweetcandycafe.com and get you some confectionery goodies right now. And always remember, they ship home and abroad, so there's no excuse. And also, I want to shout out to Miss Felicia, the owner of Sweet Candy Cafe. She and the store are celebrating their 9th anniversary this Saturday, the 27th. Please go online. Please support that young lady. Please support Sweet Candy Cafe. And make sure you go to sweetcandycafe.com because you can order online if you missed the celebration in Lumberton, North Carolina. If you can't get there, go online, order it up. Let's support our small businesses. Let's support greatness. 9 years in the business. Tell you what, we got to support. We got to support out there, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we said, party, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless, and happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. Take care.